corner, and then what you're seeing from him at safety?
You know, obviously Houston, a guy coming in at mid-year. You know, I remember, watching this recruiting tape. You got a guy who was playing both positions in high school, safety and corner. You like that he has the cover skills, because when you play a quarter system, you want a guy at safety who can have those cover skills. But he's big enough to hold up in the run game. He shows he has some physicality. And, with how deep we are at corner, it's one of those situations where we want to try to get the best guys on the field, and we want to give him opportunity and look at him at safety. The week that he's been there, he's done a great job as far as picking it up. He's a smart kid, really happy how he's progressed so far.
What have your impressions been of Jordan Jemarkeith so far?
Big physical guy, loves to play down in the box, really coachable, asks us a lot of questions, really pleased on how he's progressed this spring, a guy that we got to get to be a better guy in space in a deep part of the field. His size is something that you want to use to your advantage. So we want to put him in positions where he can make plays and give us that physical presence in the middle of the field.
Coach, how concerned are you with coming out of the spring with two starters? Or is this more just, especially with you being new, just trying to use these 15 days to see exactly what you have?
Yeah, I think the big thing for the guys, like I told them, everybody starts with a clean slate. And so everybody was starting from zero, and every day is a day to get evaluated. And so at the end of the day, we want to have a good grasp on who is our top 4 guys at the position where we can know how to rotate. Obviously, if we start putting nickel in, we want to try to get the best 5 DBs on the field at that point. So you start moving some guys around. Nick Coleman has done a good job at nickel, getting him, where he can play in some man coverage situations. So just trying to find the best combination of guys. That's why the Houston move was so critical to do it now, where at least we know when we get back to training camp who's going to be the guys in our rotation, and we can figure out which spots to put them in.
What has your impression been of Alohi Gilman, who was new to the staff last year?
I think Alohi is a guy who's very athletic. He has great instincts, a guy who can really play from sideline to sideline. You love how he sees it and he goes, and now you want him to kind of go past the speed limit a little bit, yet still be under control. And I think that's the biggest thing for him, and I think he was so excited to get back in the mix after spending a year on scout team. And like I told him, one of the biggest things that he had to adjust to is on the scout team, you're looking at a card and you're really just following a line. Now it's more about processing what's going on, how to match routes, how to get yourself in the right position, how to read what's happening, what the offense is trying to do. So that's been our deal with him these first 2 weeks of practice.
What's been the biggest adjustment for you just being on a new staff?
On the morning practices. The guys have been great. They've been coachable, and I told them that I'm not Coach Elko. I'm not trying to be Coach Elko. I want them to learn my personality, and over time, the trust is going to build every day. And I think the guys have been real receptive of some of the teaching techniques that I use, and really open-minded to trying new things. And what I'm trying to stress to those guys is it's not as much about the results. Right now, it's about trying to do it over and over correctly. And over time, we'll get the results that we want, and just to stick with the process.
You mentioned at the coach's clinic, and you talked about being the simplest coach or wanting to be the simplest coach in America, and I'm wondering if you could expound on what you mean by that.
Yeah, I don't want to be a coach who says 10,000 things one time. I want to say 10 things 10,000 times. And if we can get those 10 things, we can kind of build off of that. So there's going to be some times where they're going to make mistakes, but we're going to coach them out of those mistakes. I don't want them overthinking. I don't want them out there scared to play. I want them to keep it simple and allow them to play fast, get themselves in position to make plays, because at the end of the day, we got to be able to tackle, we got to be able to cover, and we got to be able to get our defense lined up. So if we can do those 3 things, we'll give ourselves a chance to have success. Sometimes when guys overthink, they start playing slow. And at the safety position against all of these spread offenses, that's the last thing you want them to do, because now you lead to a lot of big problems, a lot of missed tackles because you're not being as aggressive. You're not closing on balls because you're worried about the double move. If you believe in your technique and your eye control and your eye progression, you're going to put yourselves in position to make the play. So, I never try to talk to them about missing a tackle or dropping the ball. Every tackle we're going to make, every ball we're going to catch. And we have to have that mindset to allow us to go make the play.
say 1,000 times.
Well, we got to get lined up right. We got to make sure that we're in the right call. We have to know the formation. What's the split? His normal split's on the hash. If he's not on the hash, he moved the split for a reason. So we can be so much better pre-snap, because if we're better pre-snap, we're going to be in position when the ball's snapped. And we have to think about that before the ball even turns over. So it's a lot of things that they have to do before the ball's even snapped to get yourself in position. Can my guy go in motion? If he does, what's going to be my check when he does go in motion? If I don't think about that until he goes in motion, it's going to put you a half a second late, and when you're playing the guys that we play against, it's going to be a big play.
Changing back to Nick Coleman, what are some of the things that you're seeing from him that you think earned him the starting job last year there?
He's a great athlete. I mean, if you just was testing him in a combine setting, the guy would be off the charts. So I think from a skill standpoint, he has the tools to be a starter at a Power 5 school. Now it's about refining those tools to become a great football player. And a lot of that starts above the shoulders. Again, things that we already talked about. How am I going to get myself in position to make a play? And that goes back to not just playing a play. It's playing a play with a purpose. And the one thing I stress to those guys is deliberate practice. We don't just go run 20 plays. We want to run 20 plays with a purpose, working on a certain skill. I'm not a great golfer, but when I go to the range, I should try to hit 50-yard shots, then 75-yard shots, then 100-yard shots, not just dumping a bucket out and swinging. Because now, if I've been out there for 45 minutes or an hour, I have calluses, but I didn't get any better. So that's why I try to relate to the guys, and Tiger tees off in about 40 minutes, so I'm excited about that too.
Jalen Elliott also started all 13 games last year with Nick, and he was mainly a quarterback in high school. There was an adjustment to the defensive side. How has he been progressing?
It's funny that you brought that up, because really, when you're recruiting guys to play in the secondary, you're going to look at a lot of offensive guys, because most high school coaches want their best athletes on offense. So I think that's a double-edged sword. The first part is that you want guys who played offense because they know what offenses are trying to do to attack defenses. So you like that part of it. And then the other end of the spectrum is that now the tackling part, taking good angles, reacting to what you see, because offensively you're kind of doing your thing no matter what the defense does. Defensively, you have to react to what you see. So processing that information is the biggest change for guys who play offense, particularly at quarterback.
That still have to do.
I'm sorry, Luke. Go ahead. That's okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Do it together.
You're asking about the same thing.
Devin started 9 games as a freshman and kind of lost the job to Elliott last year and everything. Is he in the mix this season?
There's no question. All of those guys, are in the mix, because nobody's done enough up until this point to really pull away. Stud's a guy who really, I talk to Stud all the time about, I think good players are honest with themselves and know their limitations. And you can be a good player with limitations when you understand what your limits are and you don't put yourself in that position to get exposed. So the better he can become before the ball snap, understanding what's happening and understanding what are the weaknesses in his game and putting himself in position not to get those weaknesses exposed. And if the more he does that, the more he can be in the mix. And that takes a tremendous amount of discipline, because at the end of the day, we recruit these guys and everybody thinks they're 4-4 or 4-5. But at the end of the day, there's probably only 2 or 3 4-4s or 4-5s in America. And so when you realize what you can't do and try to stay away from that situation. I told the guys one of our early meetings, when I was playing baseball, somebody asked me how to become a great curveball hitter. I said, don't swing at it, because there is no great curveball hitters. The same thing for the guys in the back end. If you have your limitations, don't put yourself in that situation to get exposed.
You mentioned recruiting a little bit here differs from other places you've been.
Well, I think you're selecting more than you're recruiting. I think if you do a great job evaluating and finding a great fit, you're going to put yourself in position to get some of the premier players across America, because the product that we're selling, it's a special product, and we want to fight against the big boys on those guys because we know our experience, our program is unique. I think the big thing is getting out in front of it, getting a great evaluation, getting those guys to campus early. You know, I still have a hard time thinking we're recruiting 2020 kids in 2021, but that's where we're at right now, getting those guys on campus in a camp situation where we can get our hands on them, coach them, and make sure they're guys who fit what we want to do, not only on the field but also off the field, because it's a different experience.
And then I guess you personally, how would you describe yourself as a recruiter?
You know, I think as a recruiter, you got to be part salesman. You got to be part ambassador of the school. And then you also have to be a friend, a brother, almost like an FBI agent. You know, you want to gather all the information, and then you want to sell, get your pitch to get the hot spots that that kid, his family, have let you know through talking or just hearing and researching. So I think one of the big things that you got to do is gather the information. You know, I think one of the things I learned as a young recruiter is when you go into the school during those contact periods or evaluation periods, I don't want to go straight to the coach's office. I want to talk to everybody else around the school. I want to talk to the cafeteria worker. I want to talk to the custodian. I want to talk to the people who see this kid in a different light to let you know exactly what type of person that you're dealing with. And I think so many times we can get so narrow in our focus, we just worry about the tape or what the high school coach is going to say. That plays a lot into it. But at the same time, I want to know what this kid's going to be in the good times and the bad times, because the reality of it is he's probably going to have more bad days than good, and we need him to be steady Eddie throughout all of that.
You mentioned during signing day that one of the first goals is to get that interception that the safeties last year. But how do you judge exactly the effectiveness of a safety? It might not necessarily be just an interception. Is it passes broken up? Is it having what kind of impact on the game?
Well, I think you want a guy who's just as productive versus the run and the pass. So, you know, one thing that we stress is being a great finisher, whether it's being in position to make the tackle or being in position, you know, to get the ball on the ground. I think that's where it all starts as far as getting the pass broken up. Because at the end of the day, if you're playing a lot of man-match coverage, meaning at the end of the route it's going to be man-to-man, you know, you're not going to get a number of interceptions. You know, you're really trying to get more incompletions than you are interceptions. And then when you start playing some true zone stuff where you have zone vision, eyes on the quarterback, that's when you're going to get the interceptions. But I think we got to start with being able to get the ball on the ground, breaking the pass up. And then as we continue to evolve and get better, it's going to be making those plays. And I think one of the biggest things that I've tried to stress to them is that catching the ball has to be second nature. So, you know, we've been working a lot of drills to where they're catching not just with their hands. You know, there's a towel in one hand, there's a tennis ball in one hand, because now it makes you focus more on catching the ball. And so to try to get them with those distractions to where mentally I've caught it with just a towel. I've caught it with a tennis ball in one of my hands. So now when I do have two hands available with no obstacles, I can be a better catcher. And I think that's just more about repetitions.
Coach, as you kind of formulate your rotation and so forth, do you leave the door open that Derek Allen could be a part of that when he gets on campus?
Yeah, I mean, totally, you know, open door policy. Like I told the guys, at the end of the day, I love them all. But the truth of the matter is the best two guys are going to run out there against Michigan on September 1st. And the truth of the matter is this: I don't care what grade they're in. I don't care what jersey number, how long they've been here, because at the end of the day, the two best guys are going to run out there. And I've been very truthful with those guys about that. So value every rep, because at the end of the day, the two best guys are going to play. If one of those guys get hurt, the next best guy is going to go in. So it's going to be an open competition. I really see this deal going on, hopefully, to about the middle of training camp. And I think that keeps every one of the players involved in it every day.
When you're evaluating the group that you have from both the wins they played last year, is there something that you could put your finger on as to why they weren't able to get an interception?
You know, well, first of all, to have 0, that's tough luck. You know, I mean, that's almost, you know, it's almost impossible to happen. But at the same time, you know, pre-snap, getting yourself in position, understanding what's about to happen, because, again, being a half a step late, you're going to be out of position. And then at the end of the day, I think you have to put them in situations in practice where they're not in great position, and now what am I going to do to get myself in great position? And so I think one of the big things I've talked to them about is that all the toolbox that we're building with all the drills that we do, some of them are going to be you're in prime position, some of them you're not in great position. Now you have to use that tool to put you in position to make the play.
Coach, who's shown the best grasp of the big picture through, I guess, what, 8 practices now?
Yeah, I think as a group, I'm really happy with how they've come along. I think the best grasp has been Elliott and Alohi as far as kind of understanding what's going on. And if I'm just guessing, but I would think throughout their college careers, those guys have probably played almost the most snaps at the position. So I think that plays a little bit in it too, where those two guys really don't have a lot of panic with them as far as they're kind of calm. They put themselves in the position that they need to be in.
About that drill, do they not have any hands-free, or was it just?
No, they're going to catch with be some type of obstacle in one of the hands, or maybe in both of the hands. There might be a towel and a tennis ball, and you know, each hand. So now they have to make a way to catch it. Sometimes the ball's wet. We wet the balls. They got to catch it. Sometimes it's a tennis ball with a number on it. They got to tell me the number when they catch it. I want to make them do a little bit extra to focus on finishing that play.